BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. Welcome to this 50 minutes of experience. Today I'm with Marit van Ekelenburg from Netherlands. Welcome.
Thank you, Emilio. Yeah, it's your pronunciation of my name is pretty good, so
yeah, I hope so. I hope so. So, as you know, I would love to ask you if you introduce a bit of yourself, and then we can talk a bit more freely about your work and your experience.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, I'm from the Netherlands. I'm 33 years old, and I absolutely love microphotography. I started doing that about 4 years ago, I think. And yeah, it's been a crazy journey, and I'm a full-time editor at a newspaper. Also, might be fun to know.
Really nice. I didn't know that you was a full-time editor.
Yes.
And are you editor in photography or editor of?
No, I'm a writer and editor, like at a newspaper for correcting other journalists' articles.
Yeah, that's. I mean, because I'm an editor in photography, so I correct the storytelling of the photography and the choice of the pictures, but
the basics is the same. Yeah.
Yeah, the basics is totally the same. I mean, in the end, it's a bit more probably difficult sometimes to recognize which is a picture can be used or not, because sometimes, yeah, you can traumatize some parts of people if you choose a wrong picture, but yeah, it's quite the same. And so let's talk about you. First of all, I discovered your picture. I don't know how, but I discovered it via Instagram, and I think from a reel. I don't want to be wrong if it was a reel or I was just discovering microphotography or something else. And yeah, it's quite impressive, your work. It's nice. I like it's in a way as something different from other photographers of macro, I have to say. You know, this is a style and this is a genre of photography that usually it's always the same. I mean, the word of macro, it's difficult to catch people doing really particular work and unique. So with the style, talk a lot about himself or herself sometimes. And so it's difficult also to understand where is the style of these people doing this kind of work. And I saw your work for quite a long time the day I discovered, and then I recognized that there are kind of choose, probably unconscious, but a taste about some particular color, and also the way of the gradients of this color. And then I started to scroll and seeing more and more that particular pattern. And I wanted to know, first of all, how did you got in touch with and say like, yeah, I want to start to taking picture of insect every day?
Yeah, that's that's an interesting question, because I wasn't into photography at all. Like, I took pictures with my phone sometimes and on holiday when I was a kid or like a teen, but just a normal holiday snaps, you know. And my mom actually asked me, she's a gardener, and she asked me, like, can you snap some shots of the flowers in the garden? And I was, yeah, sure, give me the camera. So it was like a compact camera, and I was shooting these flowers, and my mom was like thousands of different flowers in her garden. So I started to really appreciate it from close up, instead of just being in the garden and viewing everything from a distance, sort of, and seeing it in a different way. And I started seeing the stems and like the the petals and the structures, and I was like amazed, like, wow, this is so cool. I've never really paid this much attention to something that is actually all the time so close to us. And then I saw a bee, and then it happened. So from there, it was like, okay, wow, this bee, I want to get closer, closer, closer. And very quickly thereafter, I think I started to read up about macro photography and the specific techniques and the lens you would need. But I was just so in love. I just wanted to get closer and closer, and especially with insects, it was such a challenge for me to get even like an in focus shot of a face of like a wasp or something, and that was so challenging that it was exciting and new. And so pretty much from there, from just simple snaps in the garden, I went from buying a pretty specific lens, because I knew very straight away, like, this is what I want, this is what I like. And I haven't looked back, like, no any regrets. It was great. So I just invested in a good lens and started doing macro.
Yeah, that's I think a really good point, to invest in a good lens. Doesn't matter sometimes what camera you have, but it's important what lens you have. Most of the time, you can have also really shitty camera sometimes, and if you have a good lens, this shitty camera give the best.
Yeah, exactly. The lens, the glass, that's the most important part.
Yeah,
that's true.
Totally. And especially in this work, in the macro work, it's I mean, this is the point where you have to invest more flash and lens.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Yeah, especially the flash, because I remember that the first time I did macro, I was so disappointed because that lens, and I was able to get shots, but it didn't come out like the beautiful pictures I saw online. And I was like, what am I doing wrong, you know? And then only then I discovered, like, yeah, dude, you need a flash. You need to like up your game.
Even sometimes you need 3 flash, 4 flash, depends, or ring flash, or all together, depends of the situation. And I want to ask you something. I'm curious. Did you try to take picture in the night of macro?
No, I did, but not at first. Like I discovered it later, and I like it, and I saw some other people doing it as well. But it's not really my style, because it doesn't get the best out of the colors.
For sure.
For
your portfolio, for sure doesn't give you the color probably on your style. But was my curiosity, because I think in the night also first is totally difficult. Second, can give you, I don't know, some particular shapes of color. And another question I have, it's I mean, I never shoot it in macro like you do, and I will be really passionate to doing that, probably. And I'm always curious to. I mean, there was a moment in my life, I think it was 2008. And I don't find anymore this. I never saw this documentary I'm talking about now. I just saw the DVD in a shop, and was kind of the micro macro world of someone else. I don't know, someone, I don't remember now the name. And I searched this documentary for, I don't know, years. And I was so fascinated about the description in the retro of this DVD that was talking about a documentary filmed inside of the macro world, not only insect, but more going, like with the microscope. And I always was fascinated about that. And I was thinking about, okay, I would love to doing picture of what is in the macro micro world. And ask to you, have you ever thought about to buy a microscope to go more deep than what you do already?
Yeah, well, it's funny you should mention that, because I have been looking to get closer to springtails. Springtails, I don't know if you know what they are, but they're like really, really tiny organisms, not really insects. And they can jump very far. They're like very close to us all the time. They live on stone, rock, and live on leaf litter and that kind of thing. So they're really, really tiny. And I can photograph them with the lens that I have now, which allows me to magnify it to 5 times. But I would love to get even closer. But that's a very hard thing to do in the field. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not a lot of photographers took picture of the springtail really close.
And I do that. I do have some shots of springtails that are big enough, but I would like to get even closer if it's possible. So I have been looking into getting a sort of microscope lens and put it in front of like another lens to at least attach it. But I think it will be pretty hard. So I'm not sure yet if I will really go down that road, if it's really worth it.
Yeah,
but it might be a nice winter project though.
It's for sure really difficult, because then more you put the zoom on your lens, more it's not focused in the right point, no? So you lose always some part from the external part, no?
Yeah.
And what I want to ask you also is why insect and not, for example, I don't know, mineral or something else, I don't know, fabrics or skin of the people. I mean, you know, I think if you will find the way to take picture of springtails, then will be probably a challenge to shoot the microorganism there on our skin.
Yeah, that's yeah, okay, that's really close. But I think for me it was you sort of start with parts of flowers, and from there you just up the challenge. And insects, of course, are moving, and there are so many insects. I still find new ones, or not new ones, but like for me new, which I never photographed before, every day. So it's just like an unstoppable sort of curiosity force behind it. Like, oh, look what I find here. And it's not just the photographing, it's also the studying of the subject later on. Like, what did I even photograph here? Like, what is it doing? What is it lifestyle? Like, I also write for the newspaper about insects. So I combine my photos with journalism. Yeah. So I'm very curious about that whole process, and insects are just so fascinating for me that I'm not even looking into other parts of macro, as at least as for now.
And I think that's I mean, I saw that you write about the insect on Tabatia, no?
Tabatia, yes.
Yeah, and there is also a lot of research behind every shoot, I think. And this is nice. I was talking, I have a class of photography where there is this guy, he's doing a lot of macro. It's really a good macro photographer, I have to say. And then, I do it a bit of mentoring to him, to research in some different field, to try to make this style of photography for him also a research is more deeply inside of himself. And he shot a picture, I think is of a springtail. Now I'm quite sure it's a springtail, because after I saw the picture on Google, after you told me that, I recognized so fast the picture. And he told me, that was so little, probably half of a millimeter. And I said, and we searched, but we didn't find anything. But everything come to the point, I think. And I will for sure advise him to follow you and to listen to the podcast, because this will be, I think, a push up to the level. And what I was saying now was about sometimes it's really difficult to recognize the insect you're shooting. And even because sometimes these insects, also if they are from the same species, they just as difference as ourselves human. And it's difficult to say, okay, this is from this species or this other species. And how do you do it that?
That's mostly from the knowledge you sort of build in the years. So you can already sort of pinpoint, that's the type of wasp, or this is a type of bee, or yeah, this looks like a plant bug, but I'm not sure. So you just go from there and like search on Google if you can find it. But what can also be a good way is to use apps like iNaturalist, or I have one in the Netherlands called Identify, which I use. I think it's based on the same search engine. And if I don't find it from there, I can try Google Photos. So there is this whole like database of all kinds of photos, and they're just scanning it within seconds to see which one it most looks alike. And from there, you get a pretty good identification, at least if you took a good photo of that particular bug. And the best is to shoot it as a whole, because sometimes I have full frontal photos and it like says that it's a mushroom, you know, it's totally confused because it's too close and it cannot identify it properly. But most of the time, if you just take an overhead shot, or even better actually is to shoot it with your phone, because that's how most of the people will try and identify these bugs and put them into the database. So macrophotography can actually be too close for identification.
Too much for the identification.
Yeah, for that app though. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And do you usually I don't know, get in touch with some laboratory, or I don't know, in this case how they call I think terrier or something like that, where they collect insect?
No, actually I haven't done that up till now. There is a big research in the Netherlands. I know they're there, and when I have questions, or I don't know for certain something, or I think I discovered something which didn't happen yet, but still hoping.
Yeah, I mean, you're planning to visit also some center to shoot.
I could, yeah, but I haven't up till now. No.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the personal part. I want to know a bit more about what is your experience in sharing this picture, and what you want to communicate about.
What I've been trying, like my goal is to show insects in a different way and actually take people on the same journey that I've also been on. Because I didn't like insects much, that's because of ignorance. I didn't know about them, I didn't understand them. And when you search for insects, the most things you will see is how it negatively affects humans. So you see dirty, scary, creepy pictures of insects with like a lot of them, but never in a cute and beautiful way. Not never, but
yeah, almost.
It's harder to find. And
I mean, probably it's the first things you find is how to kill.
Yeah, it's pest control. That's the first thing you will see if you search for any bug that you might find. It's how to kill it. And I think I just want to try and change that view, so that the first thing that you think when you see an insect might be, I think that's that bug I saw on her page, or whatever macro photographer you might be following. And that first reaction will be fascination or an interest in what you're seeing, instead of, oh my God, how do I kill it? How do I keep it out of my house? I think that's what I'm trying.
I think I will love to be. I'm really curious. I will love to see if you can catch it. A picture of insect. They are not only there. I want to say, or I don't know. They are with the other 10, 20 insect of them, same species, or they are eating something, even they are shitting something. You know, all of this natural comportment. You know, I think this will be really curious to get in touch with the animal. I mean, this is something for sure I search as a editor. Now I'm running this magazine publication about cats, dogs, horses, and what I'm searching for is pictures where they show what we are not used to see in general in this animal. You know, also not only funny things, but also particular movement of this. I mean, it's difficult to find, for example, picture of dog doing particular stuff, like I don't know, even smiling, you know, or yeah, or for example, there are really few people take picture of dogs when they are aggressive, but is an emotion, and I think yeah, we deserve to see more different comportment of animals to understand also them differently. I mean, also as human, most of the time when someone look ugly doesn't show the picture, but I think it's a part, you know, we have also to show it's a part we have to accept of ourselves to also recognize something new.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and to sort of bring that back to the insect subject or the insect world, is that the like the threshold is pretty high, because people think when they see an insect, it's that instinct of like, oh, ooh, it's
Yeah.
disgusting, it's gross. So it's very hard to sort of shoot a picture like that great or that colorful that people are like, hey, I'm looking at something interesting instead of I'm looking at something disgusting. So like with a dog or a cat, I think it's much easier because we are very close to cats and dogs, like they're our pets.
Yeah.
But with like other animals like sharks, who've also been vilified like through history and in the media, and the same thing goes for insects. I think they always look dangerous and scary, and it's always about how it affects humans. Well, why? They are their own creature, they're their own animal, and we should just view them as such and not always in relation to human characteristics.
Yeah, because we are not used to see. This is the point. I mean, it's what affect us. Probably it's what we cannot really recognize, or we cannot, in a way,
Relate to, I
yeah,
guess.
put
Yeah.
in our frames of concept. You know, what is possible or what is not. Yeah, I mean, there are most of them. Well, I don't want to say most of them are cute, because because it's like to say every human is cute, and and yeah, there are human cutes and human are not looking cutes, and for sure most of insect they look also in a way aggressive, but they it's also a sort of genetic how to say composition of them body to survive in the world, in the micro world.
Yes, of course. And I think it's very easy to alienate from them. We don't really connect with them because they're so far from what we are. They're very small. You cannot like you can touch them, but not like really stroke them. They don't have any cute features. So it's hard to portray them in a way that it's still interesting for people. And of course, I do use that. Like, I know what people look for in a cute picture. Like, if I post a photo of us, a jumping spider, for instance, jumping spiders have huge frontal eyes, and that makes them look more cute just simply because baby humans also have big eyes compared to their head size. Baby animals have that, all have that. They have big eyes in comparison to the. So it sort of gives us an idea of like, oh, like endearment or cute. And that's what happens with jumping spiders. That's why jumping spiders are pretty popular, because people are like, oh, but that's a spider I can get on board with, you know? But all the others, ooh, they look too scary and hairy, and they're just too scary looking, and people cannot connect with them. But those jumping spiders, they look around, they do have just slight human features, just in the way they tilt their heads and looking around. They are using their eyes in a similar way that we are doing it. we don't have 8 eyes, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In terms of finding a sort of human component. Sorry.
Yeah, no worry. Yeah, I understand totally. So last question I want to ask you, it's if there is an experience you will do it, but you never did it, and your dream for what will be?
What I would love to do is to go to either Costa Rica or another country with the tropical bugs, and to shoot over there, because I only ever shot macro in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And I've been to India many times, so it's a bit of a shame that I never brought my macro lens then. But I always thought it was a big hassle, and I was just like on holiday, so not really thinking about doing macro. But next time, definitely, it will come into the bag for
I
sure.
hope to see too. Yeah, because will be really, I think, also a jumping on the next level to get in touch with the species and different kind of insect. I think also totally different color.
Yeah, that will be definitely a dream to shoot like other. In the Netherlands, it can be sort of bland, but that's just because I'm used to seeing the bugs here, and they still baffle me. I still think they're amazing, but sometimes I'm like, why can't you not be like in perfect rainbow colors like they are in other parts of the world?
Yeah, totally. I understand. I mean, it's the same for me. It was the same for me with the humans in general. I started to travel because I wanted to take picture different of human in different way. But then I understood that you can. I mean, I'm in Berlin, so then in Berlin it's really easy to find human from everywhere and shoot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In a
Yeah,
different
very
way.
diverse cultural.
Yeah, so it was a good also dimension to find, without traveling every day, you can find who travel here. And yeah, it was really nice to meet you and to know
Yes,
what
thank
is
you.
your point of view, and yeah, to talk about the picture, the insect, and your point of view is really nice, I think. And if anyone want to see the work of Marit, you can check the link in description, and you can read also the article of Marit if you want. And if anyone wanna comment this podcast, can use the last link in description. Thank you a lot, Marit, for your time.
Thank you as well, Emilio. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Learn more about our project at allmylinks.com/BerlinExplorer, or visit our Instagram and follow BerlinExplorer project.